What's going on, everyone? I just wanted to stop by real quick for this podcast starts and say you should like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on all my social medias at John D. Klauser. It's literally the same name as the name that you subscribe to on this YouTube channel. So enjoy this clip, and I'll see you guys on the other side. That was the worst smile ever. I felt that was so incredibly fake.
We have yet again another heavy sleeper. Buddy? Oh, he's out. He's out. Wake up, buddy. Wake up. Wake up. Oh my gosh, is he dead? Oh no. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up! Wake up! Come on! Are you alive? It's not looking good. There you go. Back to life, aren't you?
Welcome to The John Show with your host, John Doogie Klauser.
All right. What is going on, everyone? How are you? This is a new episode of The John Show with your host, me, John D. Klauser. And what are we on? Episode 42 of this great excursion that we call my solo show. I do alone. Guys, I hope you guys are doing well. But I hope you guys are doing what you need to do in life to keep it going, being happy. I hope you're excited. I hope, I want to say thank you so much for stopping by too. There was a moment there I was going to go off on something else, but I think I'm going to go here and then I'll gradually build up into it. But, like I said, I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you're new, welcome. If you can't tell, this show goes off the rails pretty fast, and then it goes back onto the rails for a second. And then it goes back off, and it comes back on. It goes off, and it's just one of those things. Trust me, there is always a punchline eventually. I promise. And if you're a returning guest or returning guest person who watches, I want to say thank you so much for stopping by again. I don't know. You must really find me to be very special. He tries really hard. You might as well just sit down and just listen to him and talk for a while. To tell you, if we're talking about me being special, I'm sorry, I'm going to do as many times as I can clear my voice onto this microphone. Guys, the weather here in Missouri is so up and down. One day it'll be 65. The next day it's going to be 24. Then it's like 45. And then it's like drizzling. It's just like, come on. Please just pick something. And so what happens to you is you have all your jacket and stuff like that ready for winter, and then it stops, and it's like, okay, now it's gonna be spring, and okay, then it goes back to cold and fall again, and then it's so I have 4 coats in my car. I have this huge giant, so I have a normal jacket that I just wear just if it's cold. It's like a 2-liner one, so I can take one part of it off, and if there's another jacket, it's one of those ones. It's kind of cool, athletic style, black. I'm telling you all things that you don't need to know. I'm just wasting time. Anyway, and then I have another one, a buddy of mine. So I have a friend who, he's from New Zealand, and he played semi-pro basketball. He's 6'8", probably about 240, 245, just a solid brick muscle man. And he's like, hey, you want this jacket? It doesn't fit me. And he's like, it's too big for me. So he gave it to me. I'm like, I swim in it, but I roll the sleeves up and it works perfectly as a rain jacket. So for what it's supposed to do, it works actually a little bit better because of the fact it is 2 sizes bigger than me. But it does kind of weigh me down a little bit. But hey, that's part of life, and this is what you do, and this is what if someone a good buddy of yours gives you a jacket and he happens to be twice your size, you'll know that you're never going to grow out of that jacket. And guys, that's one to live on. That's something to live on right there. So anyway, what is this day 2,477 of COVID? Guys, COVID has hit us all differently in a weird, different way. So I was trying to tonight. What I was going to do is, if you happen to watch the last Aaron and John show, check that out after this episode. But we were talking about how, maybe we need to get a bigger space. Like I keep talking to him about, we need to get like a bigger studio, or what we need to do is we just need to expand somehow. And he's like, hey John, across the hallway is another room that you have. Why don't you start shooting stuff there? Well, I was like, that's a great idea, Aaron. So tonight, what I was going to do is I started setting some lights up over there, and I did not like any of the framing of any of the stuff. And there was one framing I do like, which I found, but like I have to move so many more objects, and I don't want to do it by myself. And then I have to move them all back tonight. And I'm like, you know what? It's a big waste of time. And it ended up being like, I got 40 minutes into that project until I realized, we should scrap this, do it another night, shoot it back in the old like space, and then we'll kind of go from there, and we'll kind of figure out what's up. But it's I'm trying, and I'm doing these weird things, trying to make it expand a little bit, trying to make things look a little differently, trying to make the production value go up a little bit, because I figure fuck guys, I'm like I'm 42 episodes deep, like, so I'm clearly liking this. There's clearly a reason why I'm doing this. So, mostly maybe just get some attention. I'm always honest about that, because I think that the best way to understand, or to understand what this half of this thing is you're trying to get a little bit of attention. If you're going into like, I'm just trying to do this because I want to do a podcast about this, but you want to do that podcast because you want a little bit of attention, or you're doing that Instagram thing because you're trying to get a little bit of attention. It's cool. It's fair. I do it too. I've been doing it for a good minute now. I understand, but yeah, I always figure, because if I didn't do any of this film stuff, I wouldn't have any of the Instagram. I wouldn't have any of the Facebook. I wouldn't just be online. I'm like, I don't give a shit about this. This doesn't consume me. This doesn't interest me at all. Like, I can just have a smartphone and be able to just check the internet, and that'd be cool, and that'd be it. Or what I would do is I would have one that has had my picture, and that'd be it, and I would never post on it, because there'd be nothing for me to post, because I feel like the only reason why you use those things are simply just to use them for a vein to advertise yourself, or to sell product that you have. That's just my honest opinion. That's what I think. Many other people use it to connect and be connected to other people, but I'm like, if I have a mom and I have a dad and I see them all the time, why do I also need to be friends with them on Facebook? And why do I need to have a Facebook to have those connect? Why? When I see them in person all the time, to me, it doesn't make any sense. It's just, it seems a little bit of a waste of time, an additional thing that is absolutely not necessary. But hey, that's me. And that's coming from someone who only, I don't know, I guess I was going to say someone who only does film, but the thing is, yeah, like, so I have to use this stuff. It's like it's not like it's mandatory, but it just makes it a little bit easier for people to try to understand who you are, or see what you do, or how you do it. It's very funny. Like, because every time I post a picture, or every time I post a video, there's always a moment where I get into a deep sweat, and I'm like, this is so stupid, John. Like, I can't believe you're doing this. Like, no one cares about what you do. And like, I think like no one should. I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm not splitting atoms. I'm not trying to find the cure of COVID. I'm not sitting at this table splitting with a petri dish and like trying to split things open and trying to see like, oh, maybe that might cure it. Like I'm not. I'm just here, doing a fucking podcast. It's fun. It's awesome. I enjoy it a lot. So it's been like, one of the funny things I love doing so I usually go out. Right now it's 1:07 a.m. Sunday, December 13th. I think it'll be day 5 of Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah, by the way, everyone. Happy Hanukkah. It's a good time to be alive. Have your blessings. Say your blessings. There's a lot of good things. There's a lot of things from what happened during this time that you can relate now. You just gotta hunker down and just not lose your faith, and, just move on. Anyway, John, that's my little word of advice this week for you guys. But what's one of the great things I love doing, like at this time, around like midnight to like 2 in the morning, when everything's all done, I'm kind of just chilling out, just kind of unwind. What I like to do is I go out to my car and I'll sit there and I'll just watch some of the weirdest things happen. I live on a one-way street, and going on this one-way street, one of the most cliche things what happens is people go down the wrong way. It's normal. It tends to be average. It's a very normal thing. And actually, what's funny, last night I was coming up the one-way street and a car was coming down. I'm like, what the fuck? And so I put my brights on, lights flickered on. It was a cop car. So I immediately pulled over and they just drove by and I was like, oh shit, my bad, guys. I'm like, if I knew it was a cop car, I would not have done that. That's a dick move to do a cop car. But I'm like, what, dude, bro, how do you not know that this is a one-way? Like you cops talk all the time about, you need to check signs and make sure you watch signs. And then there's a sign clearly that says it's a one-way and then you're not doing that. And so, but one of the things I saw the other night, I'm like sitting out there. Couldn't it be any later? It was like 12:30. It's like about 12:30, maybe 1 a.m. And there was this white guy walking down the street, probably, I would say early 60s, beard, old. You can tell that he had like gray hair. He had a scarf on. He had a mask covering his face. And he like walked really close by my car, and I didn't see him because he was coming from behind, and he was in a blind spot because I couldn't see in my rearview mirror that I'm sitting in the driver's seat. And when he came up, and it kind of startled me, but he didn't see me because my windows are tinted black, and so you can't really see inside. And so he kept on walking. So he's like, now he's probably like maybe 500 like yards in front of me, and I'm like seeing him there. And then like I start seeing him like coming back. He starts walking back towards my car. And then he starts walking then he turns around and he sees a car starts driving into the one way. And he stops and he gets out in the middle of the street. And he's like, hey, motherfucker. Hey, like I've been realizing I'm looking over here instead of looking into the camera. So it like probably makes it look really weird. But he's like, hey, man, hey, this is a one-way. Turn around. And dude, it was insane to be hearing this white. I'm like, dude, he was screaming this. And like, I'm trying to be quiet because, it's, 1:10 in the morning. But like, but yeah, he was just screaming like, turn around. And it's like, dude, you don't know who in the fuck's in that car. You have no idea what's going on in that car. Like, a person could be drunk. It's like, I'm just like, this was insane. This is crazy. And then tonight, what happened was that I was in my car again, just kind of hanging out, kind of just like unwinding, trying to get myself in a place where I can do this podcast. And when I was in there, like I saw like a car drive by and it was going by really, really slow. And then it drove by my car and it kind of stopped and it threw something out. And I thought it was like a Coke. I thought it was like a big gulp, something of that realm, that world. And so I was like, oh, what the fuck? I'm like, why is this guy just throwing stuff? And then he stopped and he stopped again. And he was like, and like I park, decently. I keep my house in front of me so I can walk towards my house when I park. And when I was like looking and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then, when everything stopped and I'm like, okay, I'm like, why is this car doing that? I'm like, what's going on? And like, the catalytic converter, like my catalytic converter popped or got stolen. And so popped. That actually worked that time, surprisingly. Have you guys noticed that this podcast just died really quick? Like I had all this momentum and I had all this energy, and then it just kind of stopped. Well, what happened was, guys, I've noticed that I'm actually not alone in my room right now. I have a buddy over, and I was like, what is he doing? And he kept doing something, and it kept distracting me. And so I apologize, guys, when I was telling you guys that story. Anyway, I resume. So, anyway, Does it even matter? That story even matter, guys? Does it? Okay. So what else do I have? I'm still here with my braids. Still have my braids going. It's like it's the funniest thing in the world. When you do like things that you're not good at or things that you have no idea the world of like what that takes to do it, or like where you start from, and like how you eventually just get better and better at it. Like braiding hair is like, it's no different than riding a bike. It's no different than like learning how to yo-yo. It's no different than like shooting a basket. It's like the same thing. And so there's just weird quirks that you learn, that you start doing, or you start seeing when you do it, like with anything. And so I'm like still in that weird world, or that weird spot where I'm like, how do I make sure that I get like 3 braids and like they're all like equally the same length and stuff like that, like have the same amount of hair. But what I noticed is like having to take shirts on and off. That's been the one thing that's been super annoying with me. It's like, oh, like I can definitely see why people wear shirts with buttons. Just take it off. Super easy. It's not hard. It makes it way easier. Makes it so much easier. But it was so. But it's been fun. It's been really interesting. People definitely look at you differently, and I don't know if it's maybe because I have like more of like a muscular structure. People are a little bit more intimidated, because that's what some of my friends are like, John, you look kind of a little bit more intimidating with like a mask on and you have braids and you wear a hat on backwards. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. That's fair. But I'm just like, just hanging out. I'm just like, I'm not really doing anything. I'm just like, hey, I'm here. It's just so, I honestly just did it because it's like another thing that I'm not that good at. I'm not good at it. I had no idea what to do. When I first started doing it, I just was sitting in the sauna and I had to kill 30 minutes. Like when you're sitting in a room that's 200 degrees and there's nothing else to do, you have your earphones in, like listening to a podcast, and you just like, you just sit there just blankly, like looking out, whatever, and just like thinking about like, 2 times 2, or this, like, I just listened to a podcast with Joe Rogan, and he was interviewing an astronaut. Pretty fucking awesome. And you're like, dude, this guy's fucking super intelligent. But he was like so leveled, because he's like, dude, I've been out of this world, like literally been like out in space, and then I've come back and I didn't die. And like, I'm super smart. And he's like, yeah, he would just drop things like, I teach a class at Harvard, which is like, just, of course you did. Like, you're a fucking astronaut. Like, I would just hope you would be teaching a class at Harvard. Hell, I would be hoping like you could be teaching a class at Yale, Stanford, anywhere. I don't care where it is. Like, anywhere you should definitely be like, teaching people what you did to become a fucking astronaut, or like teaching a class on anything. But what's so I love how I just like completely like lost all track of like what I was doing, what I was talking about. It's great, guys. You know what you should do, guys? Set up a completely other room with lights and like a camera, and like you're like, okay, how can I do a power source to the room that you're gonna do? And that's what you should do. And spend like like 40 minutes, 50 minutes doing that, and then have to come back, set all the lights back up again, a camera, do a a little plug, take a picture for your thumbnail, and then try to sit and talk for 30 minutes. Definitely do that, and not like, dude, like, isn't it great? What's so awesome is the fact that like I'm in my room. It's like that scene in Jurassic Park where Jeff Goldblum is sitting in the car. He's like, I'm in the car by myself, talking to myself. And it's like, that's how I feel sometimes. It's like, I walk into some sentences and I'm like, I think I'm going to connect this to another sentence, and I'm pretty sure this is all going to make could combine and make a thought. but sometimes it doesn't. And I walk into I walk into like, I'm walking into a sentence and I turn left. I walk into that sentence, I take a right and I turn that sentence. And then sometimes I'm like, I don't know how I got here. And then I'm like, this episode, and you know what's so interesting about this episode is the fact that I've been like noticing that I've been like looking off screen, almost in the sense of like I've thinking that, like kind of using that as a sense of adding it on, but really what it was just someone distracting me behind the camera. That's really honestly all that is. That's all it was. It's a fun time, and yeah, dude. So what can we talk about? So before I came to the States, like things like, biscuits and gravy, meatloaf, cranberries, like cranberry sauce, all these things were things I heard. Never knew what they were. I didn't know people ate this stuff. I thought this stuff was all make believe. I really did. I had no idea. Like I remember when I saw meatloaf for the first time. I'm like, meatloaf? I'm like, it's just a big pile of meat. It's literally just ground up meat. And then you just slap it together into like a brick form, and then you cut it, and it's just supposed to be kind of juicy. It's weird. It's a weird kind of thing to do. And you put onions in it and peppers, and you put ketchup on it. And I guess that makes sense because it's just like, it's literally just ground beef pretty much put together. It's not that good. And then like biscuits and gravy. I'm sure that's popping every time I was saying that. I never thought that I never would think that those two things would come together. I never did. Well, I never thought, I would never think I would eat gravy. That's the thing. Is like, in natural world, if I was never adopted, I probably would never have eaten gravy. Latinos really don't eat gravy. Like, we eat soup, like salsa, pico, but nothing like gravy. Like, gravy just seems like, and it's like all salty. It's like we don't eat anything that's like super fucking salty. Like maybe some meat when we put some seasoning on it. Maybe if someone put a little bit too much salt. But sol. That's how you say it in Spanish. S-A-L. Sol. But guys, I'm here just doing a podcast. I got like 8 minutes left. I'm just chugging along. I keep looking down every once. I was like, oh, there's 15 minutes. Then I was like, oh, there's 12 minutes. I was like 10 down to 7:55 now. So, if you guys are still here, thank you so much for here. Thank you for listening. You know what's been irritating the hell out of me? Because these earphones. So what's so great though, I guess I'll tell you this to tell you the second thing if I don't forget it. So these earphones, I've had them since, I want to say, I might have already talked about this, but who gives a fuck? It's my podcast. I can talk about what the fuck I want to, and I can talk about it again because it's something that this affects me in a certain way, and I need you guys to help me cope with this. But I've had these earphones since 2006, maybe 2007. And they're finally like starting to shit the bed because I can only hear out of my left ear, and it's been really odd the whole time because it's like everything in the. Y'all saw that? So should I just acknowledge that happened, or should I just pretend that it didn't happen and just continue with the story? Maybe these are small little golds that that are perfect for podcasting. Video podcasting, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie, that kind of hurt. Anyway, guys, so when I was see, I don't remember what I was talking about. Does it really matter? Like, it's the podcast that I keep forgetting. It's the podcast I just keep forgetting. And I got super upset today at work. You guys want to hear the story? It's kind of funny. So we had a person at my job. This might be alleged. I don't know. Allegedly. I don't know. I have no idea if this is true or not. This is just kind of something what I've heard through the grapevine. Who knows? But it's funny enough to use for a podcast that I can probably kill the next 5.5 minutes on. So, we have someone who worked at a job. Maybe not the job I work at now. Who knows? It might not be the job I work at. It's probably not the job. Is it? Who knows? Doing all this because I've worked at jobs where they are like, you shouldn't talk about like things about your job in things that are outside of work. And I'm always assuming they just mean like posts, or tweets. I don't know if they mean also podcasts. So I always say that kind of thing to protect my own ass. And also I'm killing time. You guys understand. We're in the descent of this episode. But what happened at one of my jobs, who knows? Might be the same job, maybe the job I have now, who knows? But this lady, what happened was that she, I guess, woke up one morning. I don't know if she was late to go to the job that we all worked at together, but she didn't let her windshield defrost enough, or she didn't let it defrost at all. Apparently, this is what I heard from somebody who heard it directly from the person. So that, again, it's all alleged. And what happened was that she couldn't see out the front of the windshield, and she hit a parked truck. And with hitting the parked truck, I guess she fucked up her back and her neck. And, and when she did that, she, like I said, she fucked up her back and her neck. And you know what I just thought? I just thought, like, wait, didn't I just say a little bit before I went on the whole alleged thing that, like, I'm talking about, like, I got mad at my job today? But did I? That might be alleged too. Who knows? I just want to make that clear so I could. Anyway, weirdly what I feel like now, because I cleared that up, that I can now tell the rest of the story and everything will be okay and the punchline will still work because you're not going to be questioning what I said earlier. Is that weird? It's odd, isn't it? It's absurd to be thinking like this. And it's like, guys, it's 1:25 in the morning. I'm tired. Been working all day. But I got mad because, so she got hurt, this lady, allegedly, like, who ran into a truck. I don't know. And she fucked up her car enough where that she now has a rental car. And her neck, like I said, her neck is fucked up and her back is fucked up. Well, she tried to work and she couldn't work. And now apparently I have to come in tomorrow, allegedly. Have to come in tomorrow and work my job. And I got really upset because I'm like, guys, it's Sunday. It's Sunday. And do you understand that Jalen Hurts is getting his first NFL start? And I wanted to watch that. And like, who the fuck is Jalen Hurts, John? Like, it's like, oh yeah, okay. None of you guys watch football. None of you guys understand like what's actually gonna. It was so funny that I got that upset. I got that upset because I wanted to watch a guy who played at Alabama and then he played at Oklahoma, who I watched barely any of them play. I barely watched him play at all in college. I'm not going to lie to you. But for some reason, I've been hearing about him for the last week about how good how like, is he going to help Philadelphia? Is he not? And I'm like, well, fuck it, guys. I need to see if this guy's going to play good or not. And now I'm not going to get to see it because I have to be at work while the game's being played. And it's like, I just thought it was one of the most absurd reasons. I got really upset. I got embarrassingly upset about it. And like, I didn't boast it out loud, but it was inside. And there was a moment when I'm like, John, like, you really need to sit down, take a moment, breathe. Think about how stupid this sounds, how ridiculous this is. And I was like, you need to write this down because this will be a great way to end a podcast. So, like I said, guys, if you've gotten this far, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to eventually get this up on iTunes. I'm going to keep saying that because when I eventually does happen, I'm like, see, I told you. Didn't I keep telling you it was going to eventually get up on iTunes? Told you. But I hope you guys have a great night. Have a good rest of Hanukkah. I probably won't see you again until after it's over. We're in the descent, guys. It'll be what? Christmas net coming next, and then after that, New Year's, and we're gonna be in 21. Things are gonna still be kind of the same for a while, until it's not cold in the United States all over. So, anyway, be safe. Wear a mask. Don't wear a mask. Just wash your hands. Use lotion. Use lotion too. Like, wear a mask. Wear gloves if you need to. Use lotion because, guys, it's cold. And when it gets cold, you get ashy. And your hands get all dry and it hurts and your knuckles bleed. It's not good. It's not a good time. Please do this. All right, I'll talk to you guys on the next episode. Bye. Be safe.